What is up, you guys? This week, of course, I am continuing to show you some of my speeches from my past semesters at Alverno College. Today's speech was actually from the same semester that I did my first one, but it's based on Disney villains. So hear me out. I've always been curious as to why Disney villains are the way they are. I mean, everyone turns out a certain way for a reason. Something in their childhood, something in their life made them, think the way they do, act the way they do, altered their entire life. But Disney too often doesn't go in depth as to why their villains are mean, why their villains are evil, why their villains do things the way they do. Except Disney did do a really good job with Maleficent. Oh, I love that movie, an icon. But there's not too many of those. So for this speech, I dove into that topic, so here you go.
Cute. Okay, so I was contemplating on how to start off this speech, and I felt that the best way to start off a speech about Disney is to be real. I absolutely love Disney. You could ask me anything about the parks and I would probably know. I watch ride videos religiously. Disney is like my religion. I know about Disney. But even though I love Disney, I'm not afraid to criticize and look into the facts that are wrong about Disney. Because let me tell you, Disney has a lot going on. So I figured that the first place to start about talking about dehumanization of Disney villains is to start with the very first Disney movie, which is Snow White. In Snow White, you have snow, and then you have the evil queen. So I read an article. It was Seeing White, Children of Color, and the Disney Fairy Tale Princess. And within this article, it pinpointed a lot of facts that I really didn't realize when watching the movie. I mean, we watched it in class, but still it took me another go around to finally see these characteristics of the evil queen. So you got Snow. Besides her dark colored hair, she's white, she has white doves, she has white flowers around her head. She's laying in a white coffin. She gets saved by a white prince, and they ride away on a white horse. So everything about her character has a brighter color scheme, opposed to the evil queen, who wears dark colors, has dark makeup, is in a dark castle. There's dark crows. There's dark rats. Everything associated with her character has a dark color scheme. So right off the bat, this is Disney's first full-length featured animated movie. They already put the building blocks to create this stereotype that having a dark color scheme means you're evil. So I kind of associated this with real life. When you see someone who's goth, you see someone who's emo, and they're wearing dark lipstick, dark makeup, wearing dark clothes, typically you stay away from them just because you get a bad vibe. But why do you get a bad vibe? Maybe they just like the color black. Hear me out. Black thins. You know, when you're wearing black, it makes you look thinner, makes you look good. So maybe that's just why they're wearing black. But because of this stereotype, we avoid them. So then I moved further and I got to The Little Mermaid. I love The Little Mermaid. I mean, Ursula's song is so iconic. I almost came in as Ursula, but I thought that was too extra. But so we got the same kind of thing going on, a darker color scheme. But the thing with Ursula is she's heavier. So weight comes into the factor. So you got Ariel, who is the ideal Disney beauty. She's thin, she's white, she has long hair. But then you have Ursula, who's not white. She's bigger, she has darker makeup. And the thing that I noticed the most about The Little Mermaid was when Ursula became a human. So when Ariel became human, the only thing that really changed was she got legs. She really didn't, nothing else about her changed. When Ursula became human, she became white, thin. Her human character really didn't look like her. Ursula is the same as Ariel. She's not the other underwater characters. Like Sebastian, he's a crab. There you have Flounder, who's a little fish. She's closer to a mermaid. She has a human top, but then the more undersea creature bottom. So why didn't she just get legs? No, she became a white, thin girl, which is the ideal Disney beauty, but still, even as a human, she has darker hair, darker eyes, so they gotta keep that, darker color scheme thing going on. So then I moved further, and I got to Disney's The Princess and the Frog. I think this movie is so cute. Just the songs are super fun, but what really struck me in this was that the Disney characters in this, so we got Tiana and Prince Naveen, they're frogs throughout the entire movie, basically. Even though they're African American, and we know that from the beginning, they're frogs through the majority of the movie. I mean, we still know that they're African American, but the color green is more prominent than Faciller, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's African American, he has a dark color scheme going on, and he has distinct facial features, which is what a lot of male Disney villains have. He kind of looks like Jafar to me, so they all have like the thick eyebrows, the deep facial lines, the mustache. Like, you clearly knew he was a villain the first minute he walked on that screen. He didn't even say a word. Like, I rewatched the movie, it was real cute, because my niece came over this weekend, and this movie was on, and I was like, oh, I have a lot to say about this movie, and I spilled the tea. So then I read an article. It was The Righteousness of Self-Centered Royals, the World According to Disney Animation. And they kind of had 4 values that Disney films kind of use to depict characters from good and evil. So there are the values. They were thick. Like, I don't even know how to pronounce some of those words, so I simplified it. So the values I got from this were hierarchy, power of persuasion, highly individual, and unfair accusation. So that's basically, in simple terms, what those values mean. And so because of these values, the Disney movies base their characters off of good or evil. So the beautiful, the more powerful, are going to be the good characters, and the characters that are unattractive and are the outcasts are going to be the villains. That's not fair. So then I was like, let's not stop at the villains. They have sidekicks too. So as you can see, the heroes, the Disney villain, or the Disney hero sidekicks, are bright colored. They're funny. They're witty. Like, they're usually everyone's favorite character. But then you got the sidekicks who are with the villains. They have the same dark color scheme, the same distinct facial features, the same, like, they're heavier. They're usually slow. They're usually stupid. Like, they're the characters that are like for comedic relief. They're evil just by association. Like, I always, like, the way I look at this is LeFou, that's how you pronounce his name from Beauty and the Beast, right? He really wasn't that bad of a guy. He just was friends with Gaston and had, like, a weird love affair with him, but that's cool. And, like, at the end of the movie, like, in the new Beauty and the Beast, like, he kind of, like, switches up his act, and he wants to be good. Like, he wants to help the heroes, but just because he was with Gaston, he was pinpointed as one of the villains. So, I'm going to draw a picture for y'all. I got the receipts. So the way I look at this, hear me out. You'll recognize this shape in a second. Have we all seen Lilo and Stitch?
Yes.
So you know when she draws Stitch, and she's like, okay, this is why you're evil. Like, you are all the way up here. So with Disney villains, we have facial features. Y'all, I'm really going somewhere with this. Hear me out. We have body size, because even Ursula was heavier, but body size does come into play, because even the Disney male villains are usually bigger in stature. Like, they are huge. Like Gaston, he's a big dude.
Or they're rail thin, right? Like Jafar.
Or like, yeah, they're tall, dark. Color schemes. You know, this is the longest part of my speech, is me writing these words. And then they have an iconic villain song. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I used to sing Scar's, like, Be Prepared song, like, thick. That was my favorite Disney song. It still is. So all of these characteristics are what make Disney villains evil. But what we never get to see is this part right here. We never get to see their side of the story. So Disney movies will base their villains off of this half, but never off that little part that's the most important. Why they're evil, why they became the way they are. Because there's got to be their side of the story. There's 2 sides to every story. So to the future of Disney villains, I want to see more movies like Maleficent. Like, they're remaking all of the Disney classics. I want to see them remake Disney classics, but from the villain's perspective, because how cool would that be? Like, they have Maleficent. I want to see Scar's side of the story. Why is he so evil? Why is he so, like, against the world? Like, that's just where I want to see Disney films take it, because I don't think characters should be based, or should be seen as evil based on their weight, size, color scheme, any of that. Because that shouldn't matter. It should be what they say and what they do.
Not too bad, not too bad. That was actually pretty good. So next week, of course, I am going to be wrapping up this mini-series with my most recent presentation, my Level 4 assessment. So I will catch you all next week.